Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for yet another video to talk about some more of the Spider-Woman stuff. Her initial nerf, her second nerf, the dev diary, and just everything. So, last night when it dropped, I wasn't even home. I got home like an hour later, and then, I made a video. And, it was mainly just going over the post, giving some of my thoughts on it, but, mainly going over it. So now that I've had some time to think about it some more and also read all of your guys' comments, man. I've been reading my own Discord's comments, your guys' YouTube comments on other people's videos. Speaking of other people's videos, we got some shout outs to give right now. Shout out to Vega, KT1, Seaton. I watched all their content on this stuff, and I highly recommend watching all three of them. I just finished watching KT1's. His was the longest, and he definitely went, I would say, like the hardest into Kabam. He made some super valid points, especially about Serpent and how not rebalancing Serpent was essentially, like, he used the term a nexus event, which, like, I was like, dude, that's awesome. I completely agree with that. Like, I fought so freaking hard for the Serpent rebalancing to be overturned. I literally started a freaking petition, man, and nothing. I cannot tell you how hard I tried, how many arguments and debates I was in the CCP Discord, all to just be shut down, man, by some people from Balance and also the person who made Serpent. And, like, I was, like, honestly felt, like, belittled back then. Like, it wasn't nice. And honestly, that is a case in the CCP Discord. Like, I can't say too much and stuff, but, like, I find all the time, like, and Vega knows this too. That's why Vega recently left the CCP for internal issues. Like, we give feedback, and then we're immediately just met with, like, people trying to discredit or discount our genuine feedback. And it's like, and it's not even from someone at Kabam necessarily. Yeah, man, but I tried. I tried and tried and tried, and I've been trying so hard for Spider-Woman, man, even harder than with Serpent, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But yeah, so shout out to KT1, he had a great video. Shout out to Vega, he made a great video as well, and I highly, highly, highly recommend checking out his video about why he left the content creator program. He can tell you a little bit more than I can about kind of what was going on. I'm honestly not sure what I can and cannot say. And, some people on his video as well were saying that I should leave or consider leaving the CCP as well. And Vega himself thinks that I should stay because we both think that I'll be able to do more good for the community from the inside. Because, my channel is one of the bigger channels in the community, so it's harder for Kabam to ignore me. They still can and do, but it's a little bit harder for them because I do have a bigger following, all thanks to you guys. You guys give my voice a little bit more reach. So thank you for that, and I will try my best to use that to make the game as best as we can. And then Seaton made a great video as well. I think it's great to hear multiple people's different views and perspectives on an issue like this. That's what I like to do. And my video as well, I said it was a W, and a lot of people in the comments were like, Legacy, this is not a W, this is not a W, blah, blah, blah. Bro, it is. We overturned Kabam's original rebalancing decision. Do you know how difficult that is to do? Like, do you know how hard I tried to do that for Serpent? So hard, man. And nothing. No results. Not a single result at all. So the fact that anything was changed is a W. I don't care what anyone says. That's a W in my book because Serpent cut sweet F all. And that could have very easily happened here. It could have very easily happened here. So, it's something. It's a W. It's a first step. It's not the biggest W imaginable. It's not fixing the entire situation. But it's something. It's a whole hell of a lot better than nothing. That's my mindset. That's how I see it. But is it enough? And, after more time thinking about it, no. I don't think it is. And hearing what you guys think, a lot of you guys still aren't happy with this. And, there's one thing that I read that threw me off a little bit. So we're going to read through all of this, what Kabam officially stated. But then we're going to read something else, which kind of changes everything previously that we read. Okay, so stick with me for a second here. So, you know, they're talking about Spider-Woman, saying her offensive performance is on the stronger side, but it's not something we feel like warrants intervention on its own. And then we get to defensively, we get to directly to a critical point. Spider-Woman has been a menace, and we wanted her defensive attributes from what we wanted her defensive attributes. So, therefore, we'll be removing Ensnare debuff from her kit so that attackers are not pressured for the long-lasting ability extra reduction on a regular basis. We expect this change to free up attackers to more consistently play around her RPG threats like Severe, Power Sting, and Fumble. Okay. So that's what they originally said, right? You know, then we had the switch up here. So, where was it? We stated that Spider-Woman's update was intended to address her defensive threat, but the changes outlined also have a large impact on her offensive capabilities. This disconnect between our stated goals and proposed adjustments was a significant oversight. Okay. So they admit that they screwed up. They admit that the problem is defense, and their change is not aligning with that. So they admit that. They even shout out, like, in Alliance War on the specific node, there's a big issue. Okay. So they say, you know, what the screw up was. Proper channels. Alright. So then, after taking all that in, we're going to be adjusting Spider-Woman's update to better align with our goals, which again, was primarily defense. While we're keeping the identity of Spider-Woman intact on offense, so while keeping the identity of it, but you're not keeping that identity how she currently is intact. You're taking away all of her ability accuracy shenanigans. So we will still be removing Ensnare from her kit, as we feel the general ability accuracy reduction is what makes her unhealthy on defense. Okay. That's defense. However, alongside this removal, while her fumble is active, her opponent will not be able to evade. Okay, so now, yeah, this was the W. You know, this is a W, but is it enough? And more I think about it, no. And this was the final nail in the coffin for me that convinced me to essentially make this video. So, you know, so they make the change. So her evade, she will technically be a stronger evade counter. In the technical sense, yes. But then we have here, this is just a thread talking about the middle ground. This post is so disingenuous. Spider-Man was honestly insulting. You think we buy it? It's an offensive nerf. And you're continuing to insult our intelligence by claiming otherwise, and you can't remove classic... Okay, well, we're not going to talk about the other stuff. We're just focusing on Spider-Woman. So, we get an official Kabam response here. It says, in general, we don't find her unreliable source of ability accuracy reduction to be a healthy part of her kit on either defense or attack. Now, what the fudge? This was never stated in her original balance post or in the full dev diary. That was never stated in here, that the ability accuracy, you know, being too big of an issue on attack. That was never outright said anywhere officially until this comment. So they are admitting here. So there was something. So Kabam was being disingenuous because they were keeping that to themselves this entire time. So their real motivation was to nerf Spider-Woman offensively. But they didn't say that. So however, we wanted to keep her evade counter intact, and in doing so actually made the counter more powerful than it was before. Her evade counter used to be subject to Purified Cleanse, etc. Now attached to Fumble, this can't happen. Which is true. And, you know, that was like when I was in the CCP Discord... You know, that was definitely the backbone of all of my defensive arguments, was her evade. You know, I was telling them, Kabam, that this whole matchup spread is BS. You know, nodes exist. Nodes exist across the entirety of MCOC. You also showed her fighting evaders in her matchup spread in the literal deep dive with Mordo and Bullseye. Bullseye being one of the most meta defenders in the entire game, with a class advantage against Spider-Woman, and yet she can still do that, and you showed that in the deep dive. You know, Spider-Woman is also able to take meta defenders such as Dark Phoenix and even Serpent. Now, I've never personally done those matchups because I have those two champions perma-banned in Battlegrounds, but the only way she's really able to do those matchups is via her ability accuracy reduction. Now, it's only 30%. 30% is no guarantee, but it's a 30% chance, like, constantly triggering. So every time Dark Phoenix throws a special 1 or 2 and the Noble Flame and the Root, and when you go to kill her, the chance that her immortality triggers, or that the Noble Flame on you triggers, or Serpent's true focus buff triggers, or his power gain triggers, or his immortality triggers, you know, all of that, all those little triggers, it's a 30% chance each time. So you roll that each and every time. To completely get rid of that is huge, even if the evade counter remains. So again, like in the CCP Discord, when I was trying my best to defend Spider-Woman, that was the backbone of my defense, was her ability to counter evade. You know, I didn't even really mention the ability accuracy too much, just because I was just focused on at least restoring her evade. So now the evade has been restored. That's step 1. Now we can focus on the other side of completely restoring her and maintaining her offensive capability, and that's the ability accuracy side of things. So, ideally, Kabam, keep Ensnare on attack. Or give her another means to counter ability accuracy. You know, you can, sure, keep the evade with the fumble, but then give her, you know, disorient or something. Some ability to counter ability accuracy on offense. If not, if you are going to completely take that ability away from her, which she was advertised with, and again, that's not even your original reasoning in the official balance update post and a dev diary finding a middle ground. If that's not listed in there, then and you're still going to take away the ability actually, then I think rank down tickets are absolutely warranted. 100%. Rank down tickets and also unsignature stones. And maybe even an unawakening gem too, if you put those resources into this champion, and you want those resources back. If they're going to be changing such a big part of her kit, and it's not even for the original reasonings that they said, then yeah, I think we need all the rank down stuff. Especially with also, you know, the whole top 30 prestige thing. That can absolutely change how we want to be investing our resources in these champions. So, yeah, dude, after sleeping on it for a night and coming back to the post, fresh eyes, and hearing your guys' thoughts and opinions and everything, reading throughout the community, and watching, you know, other creators' content and getting their opinions as well, because we got some really, really great creators all across the board, whether they're in the CCP or not. A lot of just really intelligent viewpoints, which is why I really like hearing other people's videos, just to kind of see, like, you know, I never want to be the type of person that just always thinks I'm right and is never willing to hear the other side. You know, I always want to be able to put myself in other people's shoes and try to understand where they're coming from, to just better understand in general. You know, I really wish Kabam could do that more and understand where the community is coming from and our frustration, and not gaslight us, you know. And yeah, like, honestly, like, it feels now like they wanted to nerf her on attack to begin with. It feels like that was the goal with all of this, but they couldn't just outright do it. They had to try to justify it in their own way to make us okay with it. And that's the whole defensive side of things. But if that's really the issue, then just freaking focus on the defensive side of things and not the offensive side of things. Like, literally, the day this rebalance post went live, so many of us were like, well, just take out the ensnare on defense. Boom. Done. The community will be happy. There's an actual middle ground and to all the issues. So yeah, dude, when I read this, I was just like, what? Like, why was that not included then in here? Because that really seems shady. this is Mike, but I'm saying we, as in like the Kabam team, the balance team. To me, I feel like it was the balance team all along that wanted to nerf her offensively, but they had to try to find a sneaky way to go about doing it. And if that really is the case, that's, first of all, that's messed up, and second of all, that's pretty insulting to the community's intelligence to think like we're not gonna immediately figure that out. Like, what? Like, the moment this dropped, I immediately could tell like there's hidden motivations in here. Like, if the problem is what you say, then the solution would be different, So at the end of the day, man, this is still a W. I don't care what anyone says. She has her evade counter ability maintained. Thank God for at least that, dude. Like, Spider-Woman is genuinely one of my favorite champs in the game, and if she actually lost her evade counter, I would be super pissed. Like, she is still getting nerfed defensively and offensively, but man, it could be worse. And Seaton actually made a really great point as well in his video here, that and Seaton has a lot of experience playing other mobile games. He absolutely does. He's had, like, bro's literally had he at one point made a second channel for like anime mobile games, and his second channel was surpassing my main channel, and I was like, holy crap, this guy knows mobile games. He knows YouTube, man. Like, Seaton knows what he's talking about. And what he was saying about other games is really interesting. Essentially that, like, they'll just start cutting off communication when there's issues like this. They'll just stop trying to appease the community, only focus on numbers, stop communicating altogether, and just try to milk out as much money as possible before the game dies. And Kabam is not doing that. At least they are communicating with us. They're trying to find a middle ground, so it's progress. We all know that this game has so much potential, and KT actually said something that I really agree with as well, that this game could be so much bigger if Kabam just treated the community better and stopped making these poor decisions, and I completely agree with him. And Seaton also made another great point that next year we got the new Spider-Man movie, we got the new Avengers movie. Like, next year could be huge. Kabam needs to get their act together, man. Like, this should seriously be one of the best mobile games in the world. Like, it honestly low-key bugs me that Marvel Rivals is so popular, and this game has been around for a decade, and it's like, no one even knows it, bro. Like, people ask me, like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I make YouTube videos. Oh, cool, what kind? Oh, on this video game. Oh, what game? Maybe I've heard of it. Nah, you've never heard of it. Oh, what is it? Marvel Contest of Champions. Oh, yeah, I've never heard of that. Like, every time. No one's even heard of this game. And yet, Marvel Rivals is like the most popular game in the world right now. Kabam, you gotta do better. You gotta treat the community better. Please. So, restore and protect Spider-Woman's kit offensively. If not, I want rank down tickets. I want just compensation for the community. One or the other. Either leave Spider-Woman alone and still fix her defensively, because that's the issue that you originally claimed. And if you're going to go against that, if you're going to nerf her offensively, you're not going to let her keep her ability accuracy reductions. Compensation, rank down tickets, unsig stones, unawakening gems. And yeah, KT1 also made another excellent point. Just that, Kabam said right here that it's an unreliable. We find her unreliable social ability accuracy to be a healthy part of her kit on either defense or attack. So we don't find it to be a healthy part of her kit on defense or attack. Why on attack? There's plenty of champions in the game that have ensnare on attack, or disorient, or some ability accuracy reduction that is not at 100%. You don't typically find ability accuracy reducers at 100%, because that would be stupidly OP. Which champion was actually able to get to 100% ability accuracy reduction no matter what? That was OG Black Widow, who was nerfed into the ground in 12.0. Jabari Panther has Ensnare. You know who else has Ensnare that is ridiculously powerful that was not rebalanced at all? Oh yeah, that's a Koye. Dude, if a Koye can stay the same on attack, then so can Spider-Woman. And don't let Kabam convince you otherwise. And once again, if Serpent can stay the same on defense and attack, so can Spider-Woman. Don't let anyone tell you anything differently. Kabam not nerfing Serpent is indeed a Nexus event that's going to keep coming back to bite them in the ass. But yeah, man. That's my thoughts on all this, guys. Coming back at it day 2 with fresh eyes. Let me know what you guys all think about all this. Drop your comments. I read all the comments, all the feedback. Consider joining the Discord server as well, where you can come talk and give your feedback to me there as well, and just talk with other cool members of the community. It's good, really good vibes in there. Yeah, guys, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this video. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, and don't forget to support the other homies in the community. Alright, guys, peace out.